in all my classes, I teach and I created an Introduction to Disability Studies course at Villanova. So we have courses that prepare our pre-service and in-service teachers to work with students with disabilities. And I think that one of the main challenges that I see are not having inclusive social environments. And one of the things that I talk about with my students in my classes, one of the ways that we address this is talking about ability privilege. So what are if you're typically abled, what are the privileges that you're afforded because you're able to walk, or because you're able to see, or because you're able to hear? There was an encounter that I had after my Introduction to Disability Studies class, and this is where I have a student, she's blind and she has a service dog. She and I were talking after class about something that she and I we were working on a research project together, and we're talking about the project. And the instructor from the next course came in and reached down to pet her dog. And if a service dog is working and they're wearing a vest, you're not supposed to pet them because they're working.
Yeah.
So there was also a language barrier because the other teacher was a non-native English speaker. And I kind of said, oh, well, the dog's working. And she looked at me and she went to go to pet the dog again. I was like, no, she's working. And then, and the student had to say, again, forcefully, she's like, please don't touch her. She's working right now. Like, please just let her be. And then the instructor looked offended, and I was trying to mitigate, what was going on.
Universal design is a principle for curriculum development that gives all individuals equal opportunity to learn. An example of the need for teacher training can be found in Krista's story.
The principles of universal design helps teachers to develop courses where their materials and their teaching methods are accessible to all students. So it removes any barriers for the student for learning, and it makes everything in the classroom physically accessible as well as the learning material accessible. Again, universal design helps to level the playing field for all students. I also act as an instructor for both the undergraduate and graduate education departments here at Cabrini. So I also teach courses for students who are majoring in special education, and both graduates and undergraduates. So I help prepare them to learn how to provide universally designed courses by teaching them about students with disabilities, but also ways to enhance their teaching effectiveness in their teacher preparation program. So when I was teaching in the K-12 setting, I would implement those universal design strategies to help students learn. So for example, teaching in a multi-sensory way, not just talking, but providing visuals and hands-on materials. So I did that as a teacher myself. I'm also teaching it to students that I work with in my classes here at Cabrini. And then of course, as a disability director, I work with faculty to help them learn and understand how to implement universal design practices for their classes. My training helps me to actually see and know about the experience these kids have prior to coming in college, because I was involved so closely with teaching in the K-12 setting that I know the special education system, so that now that they're here in college, I have an understanding of what their background preparation should have or perhaps may have looked like, and so therefore I can carry it to the next level.
So I think that the training basically provided me with a framework to talk about disability in a more critical way. One of the things that I try to impress in my classes is that not everyone has the same experience. So a lot of my students are speaking from, and not in any way that I think is purposely negative, but they speak kind of in a universal, well, this is the experience of, and I try to make them recognize that their experience is not everyone else's.
Frank's teachers have helped him overcome many challenges by supporting him, helping him adapt to being at Cabrini through his transition period, and by helping him learn to advocate for himself.
Well, I felt prepared to transfer, but coming in, I didn't really know what to expect, so that was sort of a barrier. It's definitely important for students, prospective students, to advocate for themselves. Write letters if you want, if you want money. Write a good essay when you are applying to a school or for a job. Just make it good so they think, proudly of you. If I wasn't able to get the proper funding or the grants to pay for it, then I would have had financial problems, which would have caused me to get distracted from my education. So,
Yeah. So
important.
so for a student with a disability who's low income, it's not just one barrier. It's two.
More.
It's more. Yeah.
It's more. Yeah, more than I. I mean, more than I ever expected it to be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And so it's even more important that you advocate for yourself. Right.
Yeah.
Not just about your disability, but financially as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Frank's story illustrates the importance of teacher training to support students with disabilities who may also be lower income.